Welcome to Cyber in the Clouds, a community podcast designed for cyber leaders and professionals. I'm Chloe, your host. I am thrilled to have you all join us. So let's explore what's happening at the cutting edge of security. Today, I'm speaking to expert Steve Rog, VP of Worldwide Sales at Cyera. Steve, hello, how are you?
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having Cyera on the show.
No, this one is super exciting for us. Really excited for this one. I think I just want to start by sort of showcasing Cyera's technology and just giving everyone an understanding of who Cyera are for those that don't know you guys in the industry.
Yeah, for sure. Long story short, Cyera was born about 3 years ago. Coming up, we'll be entering our fourth year and celebrating that here in the later months. But we founded ourselves with the primary premise of wanting to solve a business problem that almost every company is dealing with, regardless of vertical, which is understanding inherently what data they have, where that data sits, what's the access and sensitivity of that data, who has access, whether it's individuals within the company or third parties, and what's the risk associated with with that access. Started the journey 100% in the cloud, so all things IaaS, so Google, Microsoft, and AWS. Moved into the SaaS market, and then now have started to pivot and take things on-prem as well. So really trying to tackle the foundational layer of understanding your data, where it resides, and then what decisions can we make to ensure that we're protecting that data and protecting the intellectual property as well.
Cool. Such an exciting journey that you're on right now. I see loads coming out in the market for Cyera around, in the integration of identity, and obviously the big buzzword around AI that a lot of companies are using out there right now. So could you tell us a little bit more about those new solutions that are sort of coming up?
Yeah, I think AI is an interesting one. I think you can get a number of different definitions
Hmm.
based on who you ask. I would say for Cyera, our large language models is really what kind of separates us from the pack. The ability to connect seamlessly, connect at scale, and to provide the in-depth contextual context of your data at large layers is what really makes us different and unique. The ability to connect and then go and scan and give you the full landscape picture with incredible accuracy is truly a testament to the product engineering and product management teams that have delivered on an initiative that's incredibly hard. The companies that are out there today are certainly adopting cloud, and they're growing their data sets in magnitudes that are very hard to keep control of. And that's where we enter the game, is to really give them an understanding of what data do they have, how much is it growing, are they protecting ghost data that they don't need to really keep anymore. And then you have a number of customers that are looking to adopt AI into their application stack. And so they want to know what's going into those applications, and are they protecting their customers and their companies as they should. And then they're looking at technologies like Cyera to make sure that they have that control, they have that comfort to adopt these new business needs that are being called on from the practitioners to go and execute on. So as it relates to Cyera, we're certainly thrilled with the fact that customers are looking to adopt at this speed, and we're executing. We're executing, and that's really the main focus area for why Cyera is having the success that they're having.
Cool. And you've had some brilliant feedback from your customers and experiences too, haven't you?
Yes, we have a number of great stories. We continue to learn more and more from our customers. It's a focal point of our culture, is to really put the customers first, the company second, and ourselves as individuals last. And that motion, that culture has really adopted a community of folks that are sharing what they're learning for, with using Cyera. I mean, we have a host of stories. I'll take you down the track of one or two that are incredibly interesting and just kind of showcase the value that people are getting from utilizing the software. We have one customer, significant logo. They had an immense volume of data, 40 petabytes. And, we were able to go in and scan that environment in a very short period of time. I mean, under 2 weeks, which is kind of unheard of. And through the process of doing that, we were able to identify a significant amount of ghost data that they just didn't need. They were able to, it was duplicated data, data from employees that, haven't been within the company for a long period of time. And they were able to remove that from their environment. So reducing the attack surface, reducing the landscape. And oh, by the way, a very significant ancillary benefit of, reducing the cloud spend, right? The compute that was necessary for, nearly billions, let's just say billions of files were able to be released from the company's infrastructure, which is significant. And there was a great business metric that was measured, and we were able to use that as not only just ROI, but also the increased security posture that the company now has by understanding truly where all of their sensitive data resided and putting the proper controls around them, regardless of what environment they sat in, be it production or non-production.
Amazing. Great stuff. So I want to move on to more about the journey of Cyera, because what a journey it has been over the past couple of years. The journey to unicorn status, making a name for Cyera in the market. There's a few things that we can chat around here, but how did Cyera make the name for themselves in your particular space?
So I came into the company just short of 2 years ago.
Hmm.
I think employee like 32 or something like that. We were early stage, but I think what really separated us, I recall a meeting that we had with the executive team where we really laid out, okay, what are the big rocks we need to tackle today, and what are the strategic rocks that we need to move over the course of the next 12 months. And we've done that on an ongoing basis at the executive level, with a regular cadence. And I think that, having that both tactical and strategic kind of nature and mindset was really kind of what separated us to really execute and hold ourselves accountable as a team to what we needed to do in order to make sure that our customers were recognizing value. I think a lot of startups in the early stage get stuck in hearing the things that the customers need and not prioritizing those effectively to ensure that you're selling things that are on the truck, right? There's value in what you're selling today, and you're not just selling futures or roadmap. We were very disciplined in the fact that we knew what we needed to build. We knew what we wanted to do in order to differentiate and explicitly differentiate. And we took the steps not only tactically to build out, okay, let's do the first things, first call sales deck that we could be unified across the company in the way that we pitch and the way that we, position our software to provide value. But then more strategically looking at, okay, how are we going to box out, competition? How are we going to continue to innovate? How are we going to innovate in a way that is material to the customers that are asking us for certain features? Or, we really took a very disciplined and pragmatic approach to ensuring that where we spent our time was going to be of the utmost value to the customers. And I think you can get stuck in areas. I certainly have in the past in previous startups where, you get one significant logo that really needs you to go and build one specific feature, and you can get stuck because of the glory of that one logo. And I think we have done a very good job at ensuring that we do what's best for all of our customers. And we took a very significant approach in making some big bets too, because you have to do that. You have to make some big bets along the way and ride those out to make sure that you execute flawlessly on it. And Cyera did an incredible job of being very disciplined about what we need to do now, what we need to do in the future, and make sure that we're always getting input from various customers, from various folks that have done this before. We definitely are a culture of continuous learning and continuous education, not only at the executive level, but within the company ourselves. So, it was a really hard journey to continue to hire at the speed and scale that the company continues to grow at. And so we make sure that we spend a significant amount of time ensuring we continue to bring the right people into the organization of similar mindsets of, putting the customers first, truly understanding what business problems are the customers trying to solve. You know, Far too often you get excited about your software that you just show up and start telling the wonderful stories that we have of customer experiences. But the reality is these customers at the end of the day are trying to solve something within the company that is a challenge, and we're there to help understand if we can help them solve that challenge. And I think we've done a really good job of understanding, what the customer pain points are, finding the similarities across different verticals, and really developing our product around the ability to execute on those challenges and to bring business outcomes to customers. And I think that's what's separating us from the pack,
Mm.
because we do have key reference points and key customers that we can put on the phone and share their experiences. And it's one thing for a salesperson to come in and tell a customer how amazing our software is. It's another thing for a practitioner or another customer to say, "Look, this is our experience. This is what we've come to realize by deploying Cyera, and this is the value that the company is experiencing." And that has been a staple of us as a company and as a culture. And I don't think that will have any signs of slowing down anytime soon.
No, amazing. And in terms of that growth piece that you mentioned, you've been able to grow so quickly, but keep the quality so high, with your external processes, but also internally as well, and making sure you're hiring the right people. What have you found has been the sort of key traits, maybe even from the founding go-to-market team moving forward, that you've always inherently thought, right, these are the types of people and professionals that we need internally as well as externally to help build on this growth?
Yep. Fortunately, my experiences in terms of having foundational leaders that really developed, who I've become as an individual contributor or leader within Cyera. I had the great fortune of working for some very serious and successful sales leaders, and was able to pull things that I loved from their styles, and really kind of adopt that into what I wanted to do moving forward. And so, we have certainly adopted the force management culture. We very much believe in, like you heard me say earlier, business and valued outcomes. And so we initially really kind of honed in on that, and really wanted to see, okay, we know what companies have had incredible go-to-market motions and go-to-market, processes. I can name a host of different companies, and we know who I know who has adopted that culture and that strategy and that cadence, if you will. And
Mm.
so we really wanted to pull from areas within those environments that we knew these individuals would have that level of experience, and they would understand the language, for which we were trying to really adopt into our go to market strategy. And so we were successful in bringing over a number of very key players to really be, the first cohort, if you will, of foundational success. And then, really, really put the onus on them to not only just carry the bag and be successful in their journey, but to also, branch out and be part of the early foundations of enablement to make sure that the second cohort of people that came in were really learning from what great looks like. And so we put an immense amount of time and effort into really understanding who we were going to go after. We were very calculated in the way that we went after them, and we were successful in bringing in a number of very talented people that have had success before. They were willing to go on the journey that Cyera was showcasing and demonstrating would be our future. And fortunately for us, we were able to secure some of these early individuals that have made that journey, quite successful. And what we aspired to become, we are now living in the fact that, we've gone from, in the 2 years, no sellers to upwards of 50 sellers, and an enablement process that is, I would say second to none, because we put an immense amount of effort and focus into enabling these people once they get here to be successful as fast as possible. And we measure quite a bit. I'm a firm believer in what gets measured gets done, without, being too much of like Big Brother or nobody really likes to feel like they're being inspected all the time.
Yeah.
They certainly appreciate being coached, and I think there's a strong difference between being inspected and being coached, and a lot of that has to do with the delivery. A lot of that has to do with, genuinely caring about somebody's outcomes and genuinely rolling up your sleeves and getting into the trenches and help them see what success looks like within our strategy and our messaging, and helping them get through that journey. We are very much a high touch sales organization. The culture is incredible in that it's very altruistic. Albeit we have an east, west, and central team, these people speak with each other on an ongoing basis. It's not just like the east team versus the west team. Don't get me wrong, we definitely play the competitive nature of those
Of
regions, but
course.
they are very the outcomes are very tangible. Everybody feels the success that's not only happened, but what we see coming to fruition here in the future, and everybody's tied to the same goal and making sure that the customers are successful. They have all of the tools necessary to make the decisions they need to make, and we have a great list of incredible customers that are very willing to help us and speak about their experiences. So the sales motion, the sales team was then given an incredible shot in the arm when we had the great fortune of hiring Jason Clark, who came over as our chief strategy officer and chief marketing officer. And I mean, I can't begin to tell you the impact that he's made in a very short period of time. And the company just continues to get stronger. And now that the brand is getting bigger and bigger, we're getting more notoriety, and we're getting more people of the highest calibers interested in coming and joining the company, which I think is probably a good move for them.
100%. And, you're a product of going back to what you said recently, you're a product of your environment. So, good people join, it's gonna, you know, elevate that growth even quicker as well. So that's really good to hear. Um, reaching 300 million Series C and a 1.4 billion valuation. I mean, you've talked around, some big challenges that you would have faced and overcome to achieve this milestone. But if you could reflect on the last 2 years and think back over the last couple of quarters or couple of years you've been there, what have been some of the biggest challenges that you've faced as a leader in Cyera?
Great question. You have to learn how to juggle with two hands in Cyera. We talk about, Cyera speed quite a bit inside the company, because we're moving at such an incredible rate. And it takes an immense amount of discipline. It takes an immense amount of hard work. There's I'm humbled in the fact that we have a team that puts the amount of effort, hours, into the company as they do. That's been, when you're growing something this quickly, there's a lot that needs to get done, and in a very short period of time. It's thankless at times, in the moment, particularly, right? Because you're doing multiple things you're carrying multiple pails of water, and you don't see the outcome of that until a momentous occasion like the Series C raise. I think it goes back to the people again, having the right people, the right grit. I mean, we talk a lot about the sales team and the sales culture and just the determination. But frankly, this company doesn't exist, and we're not fortunate enough to get these people with this high level of talent if we didn't have a product that was just world class. And so the product engineering and product management teams deserve all the credit for where we're at, frankly, because we were a startup. I don't even know that we can really proclaim ourselves to be a startup anymore. But we have incredible product today that is executing and delivering an immense amount of value, to the business, and that's pretty unique for a company our age to have something that's executing at scale for some of the largest companies in the world. I mean, we're tackling environments that have hundreds of petabytes of data.
Mm,
It's pretty unique to be landing in some of the deals that we're landing in, and to think about
it's
what the
incredible.
growth will be like over time. it's pretty exciting. And there's challenges that come with all areas of growth like this, from um, you name it, the continuing the hiring speed, continuing to innovate, continuing to understand from your customers what they want to see next,
Mm.
continuing to stay in front of customers while also attacking prospects. We put customer success first and foremost, and I think that's really what kind of grounds us in all these decisions that we make. It's very unique in that, when we have our board level conversations at the end of every quarter, we lead with customer success as the first part of our, of our presentation, which is fairly unique to me. Every time I've been in a board meeting, it's sales that goes first naturally to understand what's the next quarter's commitment. We spend quite a bit of time really harnessing in on, okay, what are the customers experiencing? Tell us some great stories, tell us where we need to get better. What do we need to refine and potentially change to continue to give our customers the outcomes that they're driving towards. And we've been incredibly successful at that. And I think that's what really grounds us in all these difficult, make no mistake, Chloe, it's tough. I mean, there's a lot of grueling hours. I think there's a lot of debates that go on internally on where we should prioritize and what we should put our big bets on. And I'm proud of the fact that we have like a culture where we can be so transparent with each other at the leadership level. It's very unique. I have not seen anything like this before, where we measure four times, cut once, and we're pretty deliberate about that. And I think I think that's a big part of our success, is that we very rarely make mistakes. And it's because I think culturally we're very academic and we're very business oriented, and we very much take an approach that's like, let's really think about this before we make a decision.
I just wonder what you do to switch off from it all, to be honest. Do you ever switch off?
It's fortunately I have two founders that are incredible, and they've probably made more of an impact on my personal life than on my professional life,
No.
which is very unique to say. Um, and they do try as best as they can to ensure that we have time to kind of decompress a little bit.
Mm.
Because it's a grind, but the team here is so tight knit, and we're such a family, that it doesn't feel like work sometimes. And I know that's so cliche and it's hard to believe, especially when there's so much work, but everyone here is so altruistic. Everyone's trying to help each other, and you feel it and you become a part of it, and it's almost hard to walk away, like to decompress, to get family time, as bad as that sounds, because you enjoy the work so much. You start to really feel the passion of everyone around you, and you don't want to let anyone down. And I feel like that's how our BDRs feel, all the way up to our executives, to our solutions architects, you name it. Everyone is working incredibly hard, and I think that's the main reason for the success, is that it's one common goal, and everyone's marching towards that common goal, and we're seeing that actually works. That works incredibly well.
It's amazing. It's been such a pleasure to just listen to your journey and your thoughts on everything so far. I am so excited for what the next 6, 9, 12 months hold for Cyera, because I know that you're still on that journey to grow even more and even faster and even bigger. So, yeah, it's
Indeed.
been an absolute pleasure. Final thought for our listeners: what do you think it takes to be a VP of a cyber business nowadays? If you had a couple of thoughts that you could give people that are maybe joining a Series A, B, C startup, I know they're quite different environments, but what's your take on it all?
Um, Good question. There's a number of things that I would point to. I think maybe the best book I've ever read is Frank Slootman's Amp It Up. Is a great
Mm.
start to understanding the relentless pursuit for success. That is a good one. And I think, staying disciplined while also trying to operate at speeds that seem impossible. Like I
Yeah.
think you never really understand what you're made of until you stretch out of comfort zones and into, hyper growth type of numbers that are, to some extent aspirational until you actually make it happen. And I think that those things can happen. You just have to believe, you have to be disciplined. And I'm very much a believer in, creating a go to market engine that is repeatable, understanding that process, really digging in on the, on asking for help, like finding out where companies did incredible. Like, there's a host of companies out there that have done really well. Those sales leaders definitely want to pay it forward. They enjoy speaking to, startups like us that are going through a very similar path and journey, and they're very, very willing to share, what they had embarked on, some of the trials and tribulations that they had, and you got to learn from it. And I think that continuous education is the most important thing. When you feel like you figured it all out, that means you haven't. You have to continue to dig and find more people to share things with you and understand, what it takes to actually make something like this happen. And I'm excited. Like, look, Chloe, I think that, like you said, the next 6, 9 to 12 months, keep your ears posted to Cyera. I think there's going to be, more and more amazing news and more amazing, feature releases and products that we're bringing to market that are going to have immense value. And, if you have the opportunity, certainly reach out to anyone at Cyera, get an understanding of what we're doing. And this is a place that you want to be, no question.
Amazing. Well, that's about all we have time for today, but thanks so much for joining us, Steve. Stay tuned, guys, for more coming up later this month on Cyber in the Clouds. And like Steve said, keep an eye on Cyera on all social media. They've got a lot coming up over the next coming months.
Thank you so much.